right?
Sorry, recording now.
That's okay. I have a great job. I have also had struggles, and I also have mental health struggles. I feel like nobody in my family sees that. My niece made a comment to me, and she's a little snippy. She's like, I love her to death, but I told her when she was 13, somebody someday is gonna punch you in your fucking face. You keep talking to people like that. When she was 13 years old, I told her, and she was walking around calling everybody bitches and hoes.
How old is she now?
Two,
22?
two now, and she didn't say that now, but she hurt my feelings, and it just made me kind of realize, like, she said, I said something, we were talking about my mom at our friend's house, and you know me and my sister said, yeah, well, we haven't made a lot of the same kind of lifestyle choices that like my mom has, and so we're probably not also going to have two brain surgeries, and so like physically we just haven't aged the same way. And my niece said, well, you're probably the closest one that's made choices like your mom. And I was like, the fuck, you don't know shit about me, little girl. Like, I wanted to slap her in her fucking mouth. I'm sorry, but I wanted to, and I'm not really, because I'm not violent, but I wanted to just like pop her in the face. Like, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. I don't live like that. I'm not a tweaker. I don't fucking ask people for shit. I don't take it from anybody. I make my own way in life. I've fucking struggled to rise above, and I am a respected member of my community. Why can't my fucking family see this?
This is so potent. This is so big because I'm going to just share, because there's a trigger there, and the trigger is so valuable, right? The trigger is so potent and so valuable. And what's interesting is your 9-year-old self wanted and chose your mom over and over and over again. Your 9-year-old self did not want to leave your mom. And so when you get triggered by being referred to as your mom, I believe it's your 9-year-old self that is being triggered, not who you are today. Does that make sense? Does that resonate?
Yeah, it does. But it brought, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it brought like a lot of feelings, like they just don't respect me at all. They don't know anything about me. They have not been watching. They have not been looking. That's how it made me feel.
And it's because it's true. And it's the same thing. You're watching how your mom got into the situation that she got into. You're watching and you're living generationally being completely invisible to these people who are your connection.
And I'm trying so hard to break generational cycles, and I'm doing it. I am doing it. It's real, and I am doing it. And I'm not a fucking drug addict. And god damn it, Laura went to prison. How the fuck am I closer? Laura went to prison. What are you, how can you can't see me at all? You don't see me at all. And I felt just invisible. And if I try to talk to people in my family about that, it sucks because then, it's just like the same old stupid trope. Oh, well, you shouldn't feel that way. And here's why, because we do X, Y, and Z. Like,
Right.
that's not.
I think it's so vital and important that you feel this way and you are truly allowing for this trigger to come up and for you to have an actual emotional attachment to this trigger so that it can be released. Because as we know, that is the only way to detach these things from us, is by feeling them, by being in them, by embodying them. So this aspect of mirroring or being your mom, that is like a curse that you feel. If you were to embody or follow in her footsteps, that would be like the biggest slap in the face.
Yeah. And for anybody to think that I have, when I have tried like and succeeded
Yeah.
in being somebody who never pays a bill late, who never has a debt, who never owes anybody, who has always done everything for myself. Like my fucking trauma response has been to be hyper independent. And even my independence and my willingness to go out and work hard and get everything for myself is still, it's like, it's just not enough. It's
It
just not.
it will never be enough. It will never be enough for anybody else. You have to do this for you. When you're doing it for your family or when you're doing it for others, it will never be enough.
I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. I just thought that like my family saw me more. They don't. They don't fucking see me at all.
And on top of that, then you have familial aspects coming up of your sister being your sister like she was when you guys were little. You know, there's the dynamics of family are all in past tense. There's no such thing as interacting in a family situation in present tense circumstances. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um the other thing that was hard was not saying my weekend was bad, it was fine. But I tried to like so my sister has a
And
mom's group.
this is a different sister, correct? Because your sister.
No, this is the same sister, Arizona sister and California sister. So
Okay.
um my sister in Arizona and I are probably the most alike. My sister in California is the one who, my nephew who died, that was her
Right.
son.
Okay.
So Ravi has a lot of experience. She was a special ed teacher and she isn't anymore. She owns business now, but she also runs a mom's group for mothers with children with disability. And we have a lot of friends and family with like whatever, autism or cerebral palsy or whatever. We have like a lot of support groups. And I lightly tried to bring up some of the struggles I've been going with, trying to like maybe recognize some of my neurodivergence and like get some assistance for that. And actually finding that I hit a lot of the markers for autism, like a lot of them. Like there was like 200 and I hit like 190 of them or something. Like I was like this. And I lately tried to bring it up to her and it was in the form of bringing up something from my childhood, which was, to me looking back now, it was like a sensory overload thing because I absolutely refused when I was a child to get out of the bathtub unless there was like a clean towel on the floor because I would not allow it. Like if I got a hair on me, a loose hair stuck to me, I would literally freak out and like throw a fit.
Yeah.
And throughout my life, they've always referred to me as just being spoiled, that I was so spoiled that I had to be carried because I would absolutely refuse to leave the bathtub. Well, it was a sensory overload.
Yeah.
And I've suffered that my whole life through with many different things, but loose hair. or things sticking to my skin. Like I'm hypersensitive, I can feel it, and that's like one of those things too. um but it's very much unrecognized and in me by other people, and so I just kind of lightly tried to bring that up with my sister, and it was a little bit painful because she just kind of laughed and walked away and said, "You're not autistic," and just didn't give it any weight. And so I don't I don't know what's wrong with me. But I can't get anybody to hear me. Nobody will listen. I just want somebody to hear me. I just want to be heard. And I do believe that I would have some I don't I'm not trying to say like I want to be autistic, but I have this thing in me and it hurts me every day and it's so hard and nobody will hear me. It's so hard every day. It's so fucking difficult and nobody will hear me.
I hear you. And I truly believe that us high functioning neurodivergent individuals that exceeded and did well in school and overachieved and were independent have had it difficult in a different way because we're not normal, but we've had to prove our normalcy our entire lives.
Yeah. I keep trying to prove you're right. And I'm not fucking normal. It's so hard. I'm not normal. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But God damn it, you recognize everybody around you, all of your friends, your mom's group, your friends with kids with disabilities, everybody around you. You recognize their struggles. Not only do you not recognize my struggles, but you also don't recognize my accomplishments.
Yeah.
So I'm just this thing, just this extra person or something. And they just will not understand why I fucking feel this way. And I'm just supposed to be there and do what everybody else wants, or I don't know.
Can we go into this feeling? I'm going to have you close your eyes while it's so potent. And I want you to let me know, where is this feeling stored?
It's like in my neck, in my throat, and in my face. It's like it thrums from in here.
Can you ask it how long it's been with you?
There's just no beginning.
Yeah. It's it's always been in this physical space in your body. Yeah.
It feels like, shut up, don't say that. That's not right.
Yeah.
You said it. That's not really how you feel. Don't don't utter that. That's not really right. That's not okay. You're wrong. Don't say that. That's not true. I didn't do that. You don't remember it right. You're not saying it right. That didn't really happen.
So this is a program that is in your throat. This is not necessarily, this is an outside entity that programmed these aspects. It is not, this is a program that came from outside, but is now been so programmed that you're repeating it to yourself.
I feel like that I feel like that's how I like um I don't know what I want to say. Um like I've had to live by those things or something, or like
These are the parameters. These are what is appropriate. This is very neurodivergent. We learn how to interact because we don't know social cues. We're told social cues, so they're not real. So when we have big emotions or we know that we're going to say something that is upsetting, those programs stop us from speaking our truth. They stop us from being able to share in that moment with your sister. That just hurt my feelings because I'm trying to share with you something that I have found explains a lot about me. Do you know what it like? Because that program is in place, you can't speak back.
because I'm just supposed to accept what the world tells me.
Yes. Yes. I truly think that if it would help you, there are so many of us overachieving, normal, high functioning autistic people now, more so than even last year, that if you did need to have that assessment done so that you could say just to yourself, yes, this does help me make sense.
I've thought about it, and it's not because I want to prove anything to myself, or I just maybe I'm just seeking validation.
That it's a way of being heard. It really, really is. Because when you can sit in front of somebody who doesn't know you and can look at you and have an interacting conversation and look at the check boxes and go, oh my gosh, this is so obvious. Do you know what I mean? And you go, thank you for seeing me.
I know it's like I know that like because the most people don't know what it is really, so they go, no, you're not.
Right.
You're not. They think so. They think like our friend Maria, whose son Matthew is so acutely autistic that he's nonverbal. He lives in a group home.
It's the
He
non-functioning autistic individuals.
is non-functioning. Like he can take a shower alone if you're watching him.
Right.
He walks and whatever, but he doesn't clean himself properly. Like, he's non-functioning autistic. No, I am not non-functioning autistic. Of course, I live alone and all these things, but Like it's a struggle every day. I feel like I'm always swimming in a pool of peanut butter and everybody else gets to walk along the like side edges and just like jump in when they feel like it. But I always am like trying to like swim and it's not even water, it's like peanut butter. It's like so hard. Like, why does everybody else get to walk around so fucking free? And they're like, look at my this and my house and my everything's perfect. And I'm like, how did you go to work and do that all in one day? The fuck? And it's okay with that. I'm okay with that. But it would be nice if somebody would be like, hey, like, I get why these things are hard for you.
Yeah.
I see overload and like, you're not just crazy.
I saw a very perfectly stated post about this. Somebody made a like a TikTok about how it's as if those of us who are neurodivergent are on Krypton and there's no doors, or if there are doors, they weigh 1,000 pounds and they call us weaklings because we can't open them. Or, you know, all of the buildings you fly to the room that you're in because everybody can fly, and we're going, I can't get up there. There's not an elevator. And you walk down the streets, but there's nobody on the streets because everybody's in these flying things and their life is so effortless. And it's like this planet and this society was not even considered. It never even considered the way that our brains function and the ways that they work. So it is constantly you show up somewhere, and while someone who's not neurodivergent can just walk through the door because they have, you know, the normal gene, it takes us thinking 800,000 different ways of which way we want to go in so we can avoid the energies of that person and this person, and we need to go around, and then we need to figure out how to get and what numbers we need to press in what order and how we're going to get there, how we're going to, we forgot. Yes.
No, that perfectly describes it because it's like some people just like most people just wake up and they like make coffee. But when I wake up, I have to get the beans and the filter, and that's over here. And then I have to grind it and I have to measure it. And then I have a different jar for this. And then it's like a 27-step process. Everything is a 27-step process. I can't just make it sound so silly, but like
Yes.
there's some when like the process of making coffee is like too much.
Yes.
And or like that could be applied to anything.
So I find, so I am new to realizing my neurodivergency. My brother got diagnosed as ADHD when he was very little. My dad has ADHD. My mom recently got ADHD diagnosis with OCD, and my sister has ADHD with most likely OCD. And so anyway, I come from a whole family of them. So learning these non great coping skills from an entire family of people that are neurodivergent passed down, which is what happened to you. Your mom was neurodivergent, which is what got her involved in meth in the first place, because that's what originally how she controlled her ADHD, and then it started controlling her. So there's so many of these things when we kind of go, aha, oh, that's how that happened. Oh, her brain was quiet for a moment for the first time in her life when she first did it.
Oh, that's what drugs do for me too.
So, do you know? So, it's one of those things where when we connect it, we go, oh, that's what we were getting from that. Oh, that makes sense. It was an unchecked response that I was needing that I didn't know where else to get it from, because the avenues wouldn't have given a highly functioning woman access to these medications because they're unnecessary. So when you see the trajectory of them, there's also this aspect of understanding that neurodivergency is that that is where our magic is. That is remembering our magical self. And so the whole program, everything that I've gathered, all the coping skills, all the visualizations, I didn't realize that it's for neurodivergent women specifically to
Yeah.
unravel the programming, to get rid of the program. Don't say that. That's rude. You can't say that. That's not true. You're not supposed to do that. The whole thing, everything I've ever done was to help to reprogram us back to who we actually are. And so the aspect that you feel invisible is because your magical self is still not being seen. Only the programs, only what they can see is being seen. So it's their programs just as much as your programs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They say something and your program responds instead of that magical response.
Like it makes me feel like a fucking liar. Like, do I like in my own community and in my jobs, and I'm accomplished. Like I have companies who seek me out to sell their thing.
Yeah.
They want I have I start my job and my boss says this is who you should try to be like. They don't know I'm neurodivergent, but they say this is the salesperson you want to be like this person. They don't know that my obsession with it is part of my neurodivergent. The reason I'm good at this isn't really because I'm good at it, is because I'm obsessed with learning about your product. I'm obsessed.
Yes.
And so it makes that like that's a happy place for me. That's a good thing for me. Like I'm but like it makes me feel
because
right. Like it makes me feel like a liar, like out in the world. Like my own family doesn't really my own family doesn't know that like my friends come and fall at my doorstep when they need help. They don't know that like people in my community have turned around and helped me out because of how much I've helped them all. You know, that like my neighbors see me as an like one of they've even told me this to my face. You're one of the most upstanding citizens we've ever lived next door to. We love you. My landlords, please don't leave. You've taken such care. Why is it that like this doesn't you got I get you can't I've been telling you this. I've been doing this all in front of you. How do you see? What are you seeing? What do you see?
can I offer you this possible explanation? If they were to see you, they would have to see themselves. It's easier for them to see your programs, who they want you to be. Otherwise, they would have to actually look at themselves, which our family members do not want to do. If they saw our magic, they would see how much they're lacking in their own magic. So it's easier for them to make you invisible.
See how much that they're not being their own magical self. Like
Correct.
or maybe that they could see like I'm not like horrible. And you know what? If I've had emotional meltdowns in the past, or like maybe you think that like I'm difficult or whatever, like it's difficult, you don't like me or something like that. Well, maybe it's because I've been like trying so hard to fit in your mold and I just don't.
And people don't enjoy genuine interactions. It's very uncomfortable for them. think about how they want you to respond. They want you to respond superficially. They want you to continue to laugh in the face of trauma. They want you to be numb like them. And when you go to invoke an emotional, deeper connection of intimacy, you get shut down and you become invisible again. Because intimacy is absolutely prohibited in our programming.
Well, because intimacy is very, very deep for me, and it can't just be surface. And it's just like, it's shitty because I feel like my family has like this deep connection, and like that they are these very deep people. Like, not one person in my family is not an artist, a writer. Like, they don't see that they're like, there's probably a lot more neurodivergence in our family. Like, I don't know how my sister has not realized. I don't know how my sister has not realized that, like, how the fuck could the whole world have all these people, and yet our entire family is unaffected? Like, none of us are neurodivergent. Everybody around us, all of your friends have somebody in their family, all of their kids, everybody, except for the three of us, all of your children and all of their children. None of us, like, it doesn't even make sense in a family full of fucking authors and artists and like deep thinkers. Like, why are you doing this? Why am I the only one that's a weirdo?
Right.
I'm not.
No, and your family history clearly shows that your mom was neurodivergent. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very clear.
And my nephew Daniel has bipolar, and everybody is like very interested in supporting him in that and helping him through, like, getting through those things if he's having a hard day, or like, everybody's very supportive and like accepting and like open about it. I don't get that.
Yeah.
Well, you're normal, you should be normal, you're supposed to be normal, so don't go out of the box. And when I try to bring up stuff about me that is divergent, I get, no, that's not true, you don't have that, you shouldn't feel that way, we will, like, this is not real, you're just making that up. Haha, why would you think that? Who has ever told you that?
Yeah.
Why would you that up? You just want attention or whatever.
Right. And so I truly see that your journey pokes them. It triggers them just as much. But not in one saying, but in your presence. They are triggered because they are refusing to see themselves while you are being yourself. You're not masking anymore.
You know what? I am less and less over these last several years.
Yeah.
And not masking has actually made it less volatile.
Correct. You don't have the emotional pendulums when you're not masking.
And yet it still is a block. So just like, I literally could not speak, like, I physically not open my throat when my sister laughed and said, "You're not autistic." Haha, and she just walked away. I could not open my throat because, and I wanted to look at her and be like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And I wanted to tell her that you don't know. And you should just listen to me. Just listen to me. I'm saying it. and I couldn't say it. And I can't, I couldn't. I was just standing there and in my head, and I said, well, I guess you're not going to share this with anybody else in your family. Cause it was like, I was kind of testing the waters.
Yeah.
It just felt like, well, don't ever tell anybody, ever, ever. Don't tell anybody because they're all just going to laugh at you and walk away.
I want to go in and I want to connect with your higher self right now because I feel that she has some loving guidance or at least a hug that you can connect with. And I also want whatever age needs to come up to be a part of this because you being invisible and not being heard is a huge part of your programming, as is mine. So I know it well, which is why you have to be seen. So when you're able, I want you to go into a nature space. Who else is there with you? How old is she?
She's 9.
Okay. I want you to see your higher self walking towards you. Does she see you?
Now she does.
What does she need to hear?
You're not making it up. And it's okay. And you're not going to fit, and that's okay too.
Can you wear that? Can you put that where all that programming was in the neck and in your face and in your head? Can you see that scanning? You are not going to fit, and that is okay. You are not here to fit in. You are not here to be silent. You are not here to be invisible. And you're welcome to open your eyes if you're I kind of saw you come out of that and that's perfect. That's exactly what was needed. Because that is your true self, not the programs. So I am going to also send you the throat chakra, the 4 weeks of throat chakra videos and workbooks that I have so that you can really create space to open this space and implement those new tools and the reprograms and everything for that.
Yeah, I do need to work through it again, and I would like to, and you know, I think that is mostly what it is trying so hard to fit and just doesn't.
Just we don't. And the more you learn that you thriving is because you're not fitting in, because you're not the regular salesperson, because you didn't listen to the sales call speech, because you're obsessive about the products and they make sense to you, and the way that you help these individuals make sense to you, and it's giving you a ritual, it's giving you the rhythm and the ritual that you need to thrive, which is why it's working. So as we begin, and this is where, like, I feel like that's a new thread in the sweater, that's been here. You just found the loose thread to start unraveling it.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it comes back on. Sometimes in next year you'll go, I have my ski mask on again. I don't know how it got on here, and you'll have to unravel it again.
Um, I'm I'm trying really hard to do that. And uh, Mike, who owns CarQuest and Crestline, he has his dog who's gonna have puppies, and maybe having a puppy in February. I have a lot of help around me. If I have time constraints, I have people who will come, but I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to like let it be okay because I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
And it would be a German Shepherd, which I miss having. I used to have big dogs, only big, and that's my, um, and that's a big deal for me because when he said, "Do you know anybody, who might want a dog?" and I said, "Me," and I didn't like realize that I was going to say that.
Yeah.
That's the big.
Yeah. I mean, that just shows how much Mr. Pants is in within you, that it's not a betrayal. It's like, yes, I need you physically here with me again. I know
It's
you're
right. Okay, hard because I just realized this last year that not everybody thinks in like pictures and movies, like, and the words. I thought everybody could just see like flashes of like when I say I know what you were wearing on that days because I can see it.
right.
But I thought that everybody had that. I didn't realize that was weird. Um, I am struggling with that because sometimes when I think about getting another dog, um I still have that like image of like it'll flash up of like finding Mr. Pants on the porch. And so I'm trying to like replace that with like good things, but it's really hard. And I don't know if I'm ever really going to be able to get rid of that.
And I don't necessarily think that it's meant to get rid of.
Okay.
Um, Sometimes the traumas that occur in our life are simply that. And I feel like it's such a normal thing to say, replace that picture. Just replace it. Just have it go away. As a neurodivergent, I feel like sometimes these traumas and having that glimpse come up can be motivational, can help us, remind us to trust our intuition, can guide us. When those flashes come up, I feel like it's us saying, you've already lived through this experience. You're not going to ever live through it again. Does that make sense? Where it's you're getting a flash of it rather than bringing into your life a full blown re experiential physical manifestation of that.
Right.
So while it can be traumatizing to re-see that picture, you can also say thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pants. That was such a traumatic experience for both of us, yet I know that you're here in me, and I know that if I get another dog, it's just going to hone my own intuition that much more, because that was the lesson. That was the gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I would much rather have you have that image than to have another dog with another face, with another experience to have you learn that lesson. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's hard, but I really like when my life has an animal in it. Makes me feel good.
Yeah. And
And
energetically, I think it's very good for you.
it really is. And I gain a lot from that.
Yeah.
I and I also I have plenty of sense of purpose. Um my purpose in this life is just to do better than those who came before me, just to break at least one cycle. I'm already doing it. This is my purpose. And I have a purpose to help other people. But a daily like thing,
Yeah.
be like, oh no, I have to stay at home to my dog. Like, I do not hate that.
Yeah.
I love nope. And it's not to get out of anything or like feel like no, no, no. I like having that and being like, no, somebody's waiting for me. Like,
And it's a great boundary because it is your pet pulling you into their aura so that you
yeah,
can create and feel, oh, I did attach. Their aura is too much and I need to give them back to them. And your animal helps you see when you're depleting yourself by giving to everybody else, by pulling you into their aura so that they can energize and replenish you.
yeah. And I think you're right about that too. And I was thinking about it and I was like thinking about like, oh, should you bring this up? And I was like, no, yeah, I really should because it's along with all of these other things that are like going on and the way that I like do feel, with my family and my life and all of this grief and all these things that have been so hard this year. And I was like, no, like bringing it up and talking about it and saying out loud that like I think I might want to get another dog and it won't even happen until February, so I have time.
Yeah.
And it's from first and it's not a puppy mill and all these things, was an accidental dog pregnancy. Um so it was puppies. Um and so I just thought like bringing it up is also something that's like an emotional like movement for me,
Yes.
not just thinking about it but actually bringing it up and talking about it was the emotional like movement.
And allowing even that to be entertained physically, because you know that in thought form they're different than when you speak them, because spoken becomes a manifestation, and we know what happens when you manifest it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, because that is so huge, being able to allow enough trust to speak that into existence.
yeah, we're working on it. And I miss having a big dog. I haven't had a big dog in a long time. I've been around them a lot, but not mine. And I really miss it. I used to have a shepherd wolf that was like my protector. We were like the same size. I was 10 or 11. No, I was not. Yeah, I was 9. We had Ross. He's the one who saved me from my mom's boyfriend.
Mm,
That
okay.
that, that was that shepherd. He might have been a shepherd husky, but he's a big dog and he was wagging his tail. You never would have known that he would probably rip that guy's face off. I didn't know it. I didn't have to know it. My dog was fine.
Yeah.
Um, but I got a lot from having that animal and from having a big dog. And just the thought of having a big dog made me want to go for a walk.
Yes. Yes. And a big dog makes you and that dog not invisible.
Yeah. that is another thing too. It's like, um, you know, this big thing that's with me and this like thing that feels me and has like, it's like my familiar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having that, I don't know, I protect him or her, and they also will protect me too. That is, having a shepherd is getting a essentially a home protection animal. But if you are, it really it is. But if you are going to have, if you're going to be the pet owner that like I am and create that like deep bond, then it's even a like a bigger deal. Um, but that for me is something that I've always had, and I don't usually go long without having a pet, and I think it might be time. I think I might be ready, and I want to go back to having my big, strong, beefy animal again. I miss that because that's who I think I am. I
Yeah.
think I'm a big, strong, beefy animal, and I look small, and it's okay, but I am, and so I feel like I am that too,
Yeah.
and it's right for me.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I didn't know if that was weird or not, but I don't know.
No, I think it goes along perfectly with everything. I mean, that is so much of what we've been unraveling that it seems like the next perfect step. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, that feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm working on that, and I'm working on my home, and I cleared the living room. I need to put all of my fabric in the middle of the living room and like piece through it. The
Mm.
towels, blankets, and the clothes and all of it. It's in a jumble. I'm in a hurricane. And that is making my body feel like it's in a hurricane. So I'm gonna work. I have to work on that today. I cleared a space and I took a deep breath in the middle of this space in the living room, and that was part of doing a physical thing. And they said, well, I have enough room and enough space to bring it all out here and put it in the middle and
Yeah,
go through it. You, um, and that's my first part of like real movement in this house.
I love that. And even if you do it in two separate settings,
Yeah,
um, do all your clothes, all your dress, all the clothes. I love that KonMari
yeah,
aspect.
yeah. That's I have my own version of it, but it is very like 90% based in that. And I got it from her very much. And I go in categories, and I have to start with my fabrics, but this is the first time that I have cleared a space
Mm,
big enough all in there.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
And I feel really good that I said all of the things that I said to you today, because I think I've been struggling a lot. Not that you don't know that I've had struggles with like my family and whatever, but like saying it all out loud, especially after this weekend with nobody else knows how painful that stuff was for me.
Yeah.
But saying it out loud is like, it's validation.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Like, I'm not crazy. I didn't make it up.
No. And to be honest, I've taken, I don't know, half a dozen autism assessments online, and I went, oh, all of them come back. Yes, you are definitely on the spectrum. Yes, there is no way that you are normal. Yes.
Please go see a doctor right now. That's what you're. And I'm like, really? Like, huh? And I could almost guarantee you that like my sister Ravi, she would take one of those and it would probably say something like, well, you have a couple markers, but most people would have a couple markers
Right.
because human behavior, but you probably don't fall on the spectrum. Maybe you just need some therapy.
Yeah.
And I be okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is, I don't think that she realizes that, like, if she was honest on one of those tests, and if I was honest on one of those tests, that we would have wildly different results. I don't think she realizes that I would have that result.
Or if she was truly honest, she might have wildly different results as well.
Maybe,
Because
maybe, maybe I don't know her masking, but she's very type A.
that is very neurodivergent.
Actually, true too. It actually, she's a control freak.
OCD, absolutely. Type A, my sister and I could not be more different, but she's on the spectrum in a different way than I am.
Yeah, and it'd be funny too because she'd probably take the test and laugh and be like, ha, 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 "No, I'm not," and I'd be like, "Ha ha ha ha, you're lying." So it was a really big deal for me to say all that out loud today and really give weight again to myself and be like, you know, I'm not crazy. And this, my higher self is being very honest when I'm trying to like break through these little barriers. That's my higher self. And the person who has this block in here is this, this earthbound masked person that has come from my 9-year-old.
Absolutely.
So I really do realize that like doing this is part of my higher self is trying to like not bypass this earthbound self, but maybe just like rip it off, like rip off the mask and just be like, you guys, you don't have to see me, but the longer you don't, the more I'm not going to be here.
That
No,
that is ultimately what happens. Like I'm in Missouri now and I went, "Oh, that's like a get out of Thanksgiving free card." I didn't even realize that was going to happen. But nobody's going to come out here and see me. You know, so I'm like, "Oh, wow. Thanks self. Thanks for moving far enough away that like
yeah, and I love it, love them, and I don't really want to be away forever or anything. Like I don't have that feeling,
yeah.
But the longer and the more that I am like realizing and discovering, and the more that it gets shut down, because I have so many accepting people around me. Like my friend Rachel, who I called and I cried and told her, and she was like, "Okay, well, let's talk about that."
Yeah.
And like gets it. She like her partner, just lots of things, I have all this around me. And so if you guys keep shutting me down, like I hate to say it, but it's going to shut me out. And I'm not going to want that, but I'm not going to have a choice.
And you'll decide when you're available for that type of energy.
Right.
You'll decide, "No, I can see me. I don't need them to see me. I'm happy to be in their energy. I don't need, you know what I like." You'll become so aware of it that you'll just go, "Oh, that's right. Never mind." And it won't, you'll be there, you'll be present, but it won't be for them in that
Yeah.
way. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I'm not saying I'm going to go no contact. Like I don't have that type
No.
of like, it's not, I don't even think they know that it's painful for me. I don't think that anybody in my family would like directly try to hurt me, but I don't think that they realize how much pain I'm in.
Right.
So I don't want to do that. Um, but it's just like I really want to find a way. I've got to work through it, and I want to like open this back up because it thrums. It really does. That's the right word. It thrums in here.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to send you the throat chakra videos, and there's 4 of them, so you can do them once a week, you can do 2 a week, you can watch them all and do all the workbooks all at once, it doesn't matter. um and it'll be, you'll have more access to this space for in time for Christmas, with whichever direction you end up spending or going. But it's 4 weeks away, so you'll have all of that.
Yeah.
time to really concentrate that energy and to release that. And if things need to be said, they can be said in a way that they can be heard. You can create a space for you to be invited to speak. I want to look at your human design as well. I will text you, but I need your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace.
Yeah.
Um, because especially with the throat chakra, so much depends on your human design.
It really does. I think that I don't know as deep, but I do read a lot and I'm on a lot of different like type of online forums and stuff like with that and like with the birth charts and things like that. And I do understand like that just a little tiny bit about what you're saying. And so I get that. It's a
Yeah.
big deal.
So I'll have you send that to me. I will have you go online and do by the session if you're willing to do it that way, or I can send you a voicemail, whichever way. And then just let me know if you want to do a session before Christmas or if you want to wait until after.
Okay. Let me just pull up my calendar while I'm here with you
Okay.
because today is the 28th. So, okay. I it would be great on like in a 3 week, 1, 2, so 5, 12, 19. So the 19th, but also that's a tough time for everybody. So I realized that like that's the holiday season and family, and I don't know what you're doing either. So can we do like if you can swing it on the 19th, it would probably be great for me too,
Okay.
because then it would be like pre-Christmas. Also, the other reason why I want to do one in December for sure, without skipping, is that I took off the I think I'm working the 23rd. I'm not sure, maybe off, but I took off like 9 days or 10 days at the end of December,
Oh,
all
good.
the way through like the 2nd of January to just have some like I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna leave for some days away, and I might even I'm thinking about taking the Jeep and driving slow because it's not a fast, not
Yeah.
so. But I'm thinking about maybe driving up the coast a little bit. It's cold already, so it doesn't matter. And I don't know where, but I'm thinking that like I might just charge up my portable speaker because I don't have a stereo in there right now and like not worry about GPS and just like go someplace else
Yeah.
for a few by myself. And so I definitely want to do I don't I want to do like the 19th.
Okay.
And so right before I take my time
Sabbat.
off after I've worked through my throat chakra
Yeah. You're
or,
taking
or
you're taking a sabbatical.
yeah. And it's part of my not worrying about coming back on the first of the year because I don't care. I'm ending gently, like I said to you last time. And I'm going into next year softly, and I'm going to wear socks and a bathrobe while I walk into next year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm working really hard. And I'm also working with my daughter a lot. We talk every day or we text every day if we don't have time. And she's very accepting. She's in the generation obviously below me, right? And so we talk a lot, and she actually she goes, yeah, I actually think she's the one who brought it up. She said, I think I might be autistic a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, it wouldn't be weird. And we talk very much about it. It's very open, and she's very like open. And we don't go around and we don't walk around to the whole room, be, ah, blah, 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 because that's weird. But we do say that to each other. She'll be like, that's an autism trait. And it's not a joke. It's not a joke, but it's a very open thing between us. And her being able to say those things is also good for her too. She's told me, because she's never been able to say that a lot to other people. Her
Right.
family, that her adoptive family, that's her family. They, I think she's been misdiagnosed, and she thinks she's been misdiagnosed, and throughout, and she had a tough high school years and stuff like that. Um, so that's something we've been working together on too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to not bring that up because I talk to her every day and it's like a very big deal. But the pain that I have from that doesn't come from her. It comes from everybody else not realizing that there's pain in that.
Mm, yeah. That it's not necessarily an easy thing to do every day.
It's not like, oh, you must feel so great that she came back into your life. Fuck no. It's so hard. It's the most detrimental and traumatizing thing that I've ever been through. And I have CPSD from it. No.
Yeah. And you have to mask.
Yeah, I totally have to mask. And so everybody's like, how wonderful. And I'm like, it's the most difficult thing I've ever done. Let's smile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I would love to connect with that next session too.
Yeah, I think that's big. I know that this is like, that's why I'm doing this. I'm bringing up all these things. I realize that sometimes that maybe our, like, my session isn't like today was a lot of discovery and a lot of saying things that I haven't said out loud, and that's okay. Um but it feels okay because I don't feel like I have like how the state is like, well, you get 32 sessions and then after that you're done, or whatever. Like I don't feel like I feel like as long as we can keep working on whatever our, if it's 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever, like we have time.
And again, this is the journey. There's not a
Right.
destination. We're not like check off the list.
Right.
You're done. Like it ends when you're like, you know what? We can do this every other month, or you know what I mean? Like, or we can take it. I'm gonna text you when I need the next session in 6 weeks, whatever. Like, or I need a session both of these weeks because this is coming.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I am getting myself financially to a point where like I'm probably going to go like every other week because I would prefer that. Um I don't want to give up anything right now, and so 3 weeks is better.
Yeah,
And then back to 3 weeks, but probably somewhere in like the earlier part of next year, I'm going to start going to every 2 weeks again, and then kind of work through some things and whatever, take it as it goes. But
yeah,
yeah, not something that this is a not only an emotional necessity for me, but it is a physical necessity because it helps me um get out of bed every day and walk through the world. And it's also a medical necessity because I am going to go to a crazy house if I can't figure out how to get through these things.
yeah. And I mean, to be able to be triggered is one thing, but to be triggered and stuck in that space without being able to voice it or reveal it or unlock it. How many lifetimes have we been doing this? A lot. Many.
Oh, yeah, I think I get thrums because I feel like there's like all these women from my, like, who I was before and all these lifetimes and all these generations before me that are like it's like somebody's like beating the inside of me and being like, no, don't shut up. But I'm working on it, and I am okay with myself. And my sister did teach me my two things that I live by every single day. I mean, I live by lots of things, but two things she told me. When you get overwhelmed, make a pile and start at the top because it doesn't matter. And I live by piles. And then other thing is oops, the other thing is at yourself in the morning.
What was it? Repeat it one more time.
You're the only person who has to look at yourself in the morning. And so I look at myself every day and I decide if I'm okay with what I see. And every day I am.
Mm, yeah.
If it's hard, even when Anthony
Mm,
died that night on January 13th, it was 11:50 p.m. and I was out of the shower. It was the hardest shower I've ever taken. And I looked at myself in the mirror and it was the smallest I'd ever seemed. It was tiny. I felt tiny and sunken and I felt like everything was gray and my face looked old and I had lines, but I still was able to make eye contact with myself. And as long as I do that every day, and that's what I do, I'm okay. And that was the hardest day I've ever had to look at myself, and I still do it.
yeah.
So I live things and I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
gonna go make and start at the top.
yes. Yes, you are. And that sounds like it's gonna hit all the things too.
Thank you so much for being um somebody who I can open up to in like a very real way and making a like a fully judgment free zone where I can get help.
You're absolutely welcome. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much. And I will see you on the 19th.
Perfect. All right.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.